Hello everyone. Hey kids. Good morning. Today we are going to continue to talk about Joseph, and we'll pick up from where we left off last week. So stay with me and we'll learn some more about Joseph. Joseph and Pharaoh's dream. And this can be found in Genesis chapter 41. This story is found in the very first book of the Bible, the book of Genesis. One night, Pharaoh had a dream. He saw 7 fat cows and 7 thin cows. The thin cows ate up the fat cows, but the thin cows still looked hungry. The next night, Pharaoh dreamed about 7 fat stalks of corn and 7 thin stalks of corn. The fat corn ate the thin corn, but they still looked hungry. Pharaoh got all his wise men and magicians with their magic powers to find out what his dreams meant. But none of their magic worked. The Pharaoh's best servant told him about a prisoner named Joseph who could understand dreams. "Send for him at once," commanded Pharaoh. Joseph was in prison for something that he didn't do, but he still trusted God. "God, you're always with me," said Joseph. "Show me what the Pharaoh's dream means," prayed Joseph. Joseph said that God said that there will be a great harvest for 7 years, and then for 7 years, famine. "Put a good man in charge of storing extra food before the famine comes," Joseph told Pharaoh. "There's no one better than you," said Pharaoh. "You will be in charge of storing the food so that no one ever goes hungry." And Joseph became the most important man in Egypt. Okay, our story today came from the Free Bible Images, and it was written by Jill Kemp, and the illustrations is by Richard Gunther. Okay, that was a continuation of our story from last week. If you remember last week, Joseph's brothers, he has a bunch of brothers, remember that? They were mad at him because he got a special gift from his father. Can you remember what that gift was? It was something very colorful. Yep, that's right, it was a coat. It was a coat of many colors, and his brothers were jealous of him. And do you remember what they did to him? That's right. They sold him. And Joseph ended up in Egypt. And he actually ended up going to prison there. And while he was in prison, he still prayed to God. He knew God was going to take care of him. And Pharaoh was kind of like the king over Egypt. And he started having these really strange dreams, and he could not figure out what they meant. And so he called all his wise men that were supposed to know everything, and they couldn't give the Pharaoh any answers. And so Pharaoh's best man, or his servant that he really, really trusted, told Pharaoh, "Hey, you got a guy that's in prison over there named Joseph who can actually tell you what your dream means." And so Pharaoh had them go get Joseph, and Joseph was able to tell him what his dreams meant. And before he went, though, to talk to the Pharaoh, Joseph prayed to God and asked God to help him tell Pharaoh what the dreams were about. Because Joseph had a lot of faith in God and he wanted God's help with this. So he got to Pharaoh and he was able to tell Pharaoh that his dreams meant that for 7 years there was going to be lots and lots and lots of food in the land and nobody would be hungry. But after those 7 years, there wasn't going to be any food and people were going to go hungry. So in order to keep people from going hungry, those 7 years later, they really needed to store up food when there was lots and lots of food, so that when there wasn't any food, they would have some that was in storage, and that they needed somebody in charge of taking care of this food and making sure that it was distributed to people or handed out to people properly. And so Pharaoh put Joseph in charge of that. And that made him a very important man. So next week, we are going to continue our story about Joseph. And if I remember right, I'm going to give you a hint. It has something to do with his brothers again. And so we'll find out what happens. So be sure you tune in next week. I miss you guys in class. I love you, and I'll see you later. Bye.